Hello traders, Andy Demi here from the London Trading Institute. So in today's video guys, I want to go through your answers that you posted on my question yesterday. And specifically the question was, what is a great trading setup to you? What does that mean to you? And we got some really great answers. So what I wanted to do today is to review some of those answers and give you my feedback, my opinion, and then also give you my idea of what the ideal answer is to that question. So as I said, this was what the question was. You can see me there. What makes a great setup? And I asked you guys to respond. So I'll start with the first response, which is a very good answer. This one is from Villius, and you put the one that you can sit and wait while the ball is rolling without worrying about the outcome because it meets your setup criteria, analysis and indicators, and it has been tested previously, and knowing that no matter what the outcome from how the up-and-coming trade will end up, in the long run, this set will play back with its RRR and win rate possibility. So that's a really good answer. So generally speaking, a good setup is one where you know you've back tested it, you have you have rules and you have an edge. And what Willis is kind of saying there is that when you've got that, you're not really worrying about the setup. You know that it doesn't matter what the outcome is on this particular setup. You know it's a good setup. So really good answer. Well done on that. And then Slavomir, you've put the great trading setup for me is when I'm flying through the time frames and everything is adding up and makes sense. On the emotional side, this is when I feel relaxed. My heart rate is not rising. It's when I press the buy and sell button, I can go to the next pair and didn't go back to the one I just entered, as I believe in my work. Very good answer again, because we've got to really look at the emotions when we're placing trades. Now, if you kind of find yourself in an opportunity where you're like worried about missing the trade, and you're just hurrying to get into the trade and jumping into the market, well, likelihood is that you're not feeling what Slavomir is saying there, which is relaxed, taking your time, happy with the setup, heart rate not rising. So again, a really great answer. And Anita, you've put here, I believe the best trading setup is one that you've used patience to wait for the setup to present itself. Great timing to enter the trade to maximize profits, manage your risk, and then most importantly, follow yours. Really great answer again. Absolutely. You are absolutely correct there. Timing, you mentioned, waiting for your setup to come to fruition, following your rules, managing your risk. In other words, doing what professional traders do. And not rushing, not chasing the market to get in. So really great answer. And Barry put when price action and indicators match. So yep, that's a good point. So in other words, another way of saying that is when you have confluences. So again, good answer. Nick, so what is a proper trading setup? After I execute my trade to move with the trend line or not opposite. So you're going with the trend. It means technical and fundamental analysis are correct. All the instruments and indicators of what a trade has been used. When to enter, when to exit with the appropriate risk management. Yep, again, good answer. Darrell, and by the way, just a quick one on that one. If that's your trading rules, absolutely. Going with the trend is something that, a lot of people do. You don't necessarily have to go with the trend. The most important thing, though, is to follow your own rules. So if that is your system, your strategy, then absolutely following that, trend strategy makes a lot of sense. Darrell, in my opinion, a good setup is as much confidence from your trade plan at around a certain price level and good gut feeling. Yeah, I mean, gut feeling is good, absolutely. 10-20% of your kind of setup can be gut feeling, especially if you've got a bit of experience. I think it's a good idea to use that. But the most important thing is following your trade plan. And timeless profits, Priscilla. Apart from technical and fundamental alignment, timing and the market response to my idea counts a lot too. So that's an interesting idea, market response. So that's more of probably more day trading, I would say. So when you are entering a trade and you're day trading and you're like, okay, this is my level, and then the market isn't responding, I guess you're using that as a gauge as to whether you're right or wrong. So a lot of day traders do that. Wow, we've got a lot of answers. This might be a long video, so let me speed up. Joanna, I wouldn't enter the trade if my setup is not great. In my opinion, it doesn't need to be a winner, but I know I've done all I could by going my rules and learn from it. Yeah, so absolutely, it's about following your rules. Completely spot on. And then Janine says a great trading setup would be when the indicator analysis that you use are all pointing in one direction and it meets your plan criteria. Absolutely, again, it is following your rules. Just another way of saying that. Again, great answer. Lyacott, I hope I pronounced that correct. It's when you see your system giving you a signal and you measure risk properly and you pull the trigger and your trade hitting your target. Now, that's a really good answer because, yes, giving you a signal and you measure your risk correctly and you pull the trigger, like a professional. But here's the thing that I want to question you on. Hitting your target, yes, I mean, we love when our target is hit because it means we've made money. But is that what makes a great trade setup? Well, not necessarily. The other stuff does, but hitting your target is going to happen sometimes and sometimes it's not because we're playing probability. So, we can't control the outcome. So what's really, really important to understand there is that, a lot of traders, they look at a setup and they think, or a trade, and they think it's good or bad based on whether it's won or lost. But actually, it's the other stuff. So the stuff that you mentioned there before, that's the most important. And then the outcome is going to be the outcome. And obviously, if you've got a good system with rules, then over time, you're going to make money. And Joe, a high reward to risk and a high probability equals a great setup. Yeah, again, high reward to risk, and that's based on your own rules. Now, you can have a system that has a 1-to-1 that isn't a high reward to risk, and because you don't actually need a high reward to risk and a high probability. So you could have a 1-to-1, for example, with a high probability. So in other words, it wins 80, 70, 80% of the time, and you still make good money. Or you could have a high reward to risk actually with, less win rate, and you'll still have a winning strategy. Now, remember that if you try and go for too much, like, hey, I want a high reward to risk and a high probability, you may not get too many setups. So, just bear that in mind. But yeah, again, good answer. So, Anthony, inflation, interest rates, growth through a country's GDP are really the true component of any currency. This isn't, all true. Is this to do with a trade setup? I think here's where you mentioned the trade setup. Mindset for my trades. I never any fear of taking a trade. Believe that my rules are always good enough to gain overall and never allow emotion to dictate a trade. Yeah, mindset, absolutely. So following your rules, and then and the way you follow your rules is by having that mindset of my rules are my rules, and it's about controlling those emotions so that we, as best as we can, we don't overreact to situations, and we try and follow our rules as much as we can. And obviously, we're human beings, and people will sometimes not follow their rules, but it's about how quickly you react to that and what you do after that. That makes really all the difference. Joe again, a trade opportunity that validated all your trading SOPs, and while you're placing your order, you feel hassle-free, good setup. Yeah, absolutely. That's an important one, guys. Two or three of you have mentioned that. Like, you know, how you feel is really important. So when you're taking that trade, it's really important to observe, are you feeling stressed out or chasing the market, or are you feeling relaxed? Like, yeah, that's a great setup. It's going to win. It might lose. I'm cool with both sides. And that's something to really look out for. And we've got a couple more here. Till apart from technical fundamental, simplicity, less is more, and patience. Love that. Simplicity is what I always say. You know, like, you could have a really great trading strategy that's super complicated, but you cannot keep repeating it, right? You can't keep playing the same way because it's too complicated. And so in the end, you're going to be inconsistent. Whereas if you have something simple that's got an edge, well, you've got now a system that can make you money. So I love that. And patience, absolutely, waiting for those trades rather than just jumping in. And last one here, learning more about using the 20, 50 and 200 emails more if I can get consistent results. Yeah. So Andrea, like, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about the specifics at this stage. It's more a case of like thinking about trading setups holistically. Like, you know, what is a good setup? Like, what does that really look like? You know, rather than the nitty gritty. It's like, you know, when you open up a shop, a coffee shop, you're looking at the business, not how to make coffee, right? That's just a small little part of the business. But the most important thing is the business, and trading really is a business. And so you want to think about setups. What does a good setup look like? So anyway, guys, really well done. I mean, I love those answers. Now, as promised, I want to kind of give you my own views as well of what a great setup is, and it's kind of really repeating a lot of what you guys have said. So for me, it's about having a strategy that you have tested, that you're comfortable with, that you know the rules, that you know that there's an edge, that you know that is repeatable. That's a good word, repeatable, and therefore scalable. So in other words, like having a setup whereby you know that if you place those trades hundreds and hundreds of times, the outcome on any one trade can be what it varies. However, over time, that setup is going to make you money. And somebody mentioned, I think it's Talal, simplicity. You know, simplicity, by the way, is variant on the individual. So it varies from person to person. So what's simple for a beginner is different for what's simple for a professional who's been doing it for years, right? So simple for you, simple to execute, simple to understand, repeatable. And that for me is what makes a great setup. And one more thing that nobody actually mentioned is it's got to resonate with your personality. That's a really, really important. A good setup should resonate with your personality. So in other words, for those that know me, they will probably know that I'm pretty fast paced. I'm not somebody to wait for a trade setup to work out in 2 weeks time. I want to be out of that trade, ideally in the day, right? One day, maximum two. Otherwise, like, I'm not sleeping very well. So I know that the kind of trades that I need to take are going to be different to somebody else who is maybe a little bit more chilled out and has a different personality to me, a bit more relaxed. Right, so that's not me, but you know, if that is you, then you're going to have a different setup to match that personality, because if you marry the two together, then you have the best chance to succeed. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comments if you found that useful, and you know, let's keep the dialogue going. And thank you so much for all participating. If you're not in our group, I don't know if you're watching this from some other social media platform like YouTube or whatever, you know, the Crypto and FX Traders Club is free to join. Just find us on Facebook and join us. Have a good one, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon with another update. Take care.